Yo, what's up, boys? It's your man back for another figure review. Now, today, we have the Marvel Legends Cosmic Ghost Rider. Bringing this man in a little bit, just to give you a little sneak peek. This is the classic figure from a couple of years ago. It's the Cosmic Ghost Rider with the Cosmic Bike. The 2-pack of from the Riders Wave. I'm not actually sure what it's called. I just recently got this guy because I remembered he existed, and I was like, yo, that's a cool Ghost Rider, let me add him to the collection. And I looked him up, and it turns out on the secondary market that this figure has gone up quite a lot. You can still find it at retailers, like on eBay, you find it for like 80, 90, people are even trying to get like 100 out of it, which is crazy. But on retailers, like I went to the Big Bad Toy Store, shout out to them. I got this guy for retail price. So if you're looking for a Cosmic Ghost Rider, before clicking that button on eBay and dropping $89, $99, $99, just go to Big Bad Toy Store and get him for retail. So after introducing this guy, you know the moves. We're gonna bring in the box. So this is a much bigger box than usual, but I do actually like these boxes. I like the big, huge window style packaging with the, you can see, if pretend these were filled in, you could see everything, the figure, the bike. I feel like it's a good showing of how much you're getting in the box and just how big it is. You can see the little Cosmic Ghost Rider logo right there. This is, it doesn't fit, but you can see that. There's some nice side art. Nice product shots on the back, a little bit of a bio, kind of a stupid bio, not gonna lie, but a bio indeed. The other side has the exact same Ghost Rider picture, but who even cares? The box is not what people come here for. People do not buy these figures for the box. We come for the figure themselves. So, just coming in quick for the paint and sculpt. His bowl here is just some nice plastic dome. It is removable, so I'm going to be keeping it off this whole time just to remove the glare aspect. Now, moving in to get a nice look at the figure here. The head sculpt is good, but it's kind of small. I feel like it's thin and short. Well, not short, but long. And I don't think it looks right, but I know they had to do it for getting the dome to fit over it, so it is forgiven. But other than that, I don't think there's much wrong with this figure at all. The paint and sculpt is pretty much on point. The sculpt especially, this new body, this whole torso they did looks amazing. I think the heavy detail on like the textures, it looks great and it translated very well. It came out very nicely. And the only problem is there isn't much shading on the figure, so there's not a lot of depth in these cracks and crevices, which might be a little spoiler. It may lead to eventually doing a little wash on this guy, but for right now he does not need it because the paint is actually really, really good. And I like a lot the small details, like the dots in the eyes of the skull and all the kind of floating bubbles all around his body on his, well, you can't really see it on that arm, but on the arms and on the joints at the hips over here, they even have it. I really like that paint. They did a lot of nice in detail with it and it came out pretty nicely. And for sculpt too, a lot of this stuff is new. Like these wristbands are new. I like the new shoulder pads. And the only reuse I know on this guy is these legs are from the Taskmaster. I'm not sure if it's the original, but it's one of the older Taskmasters. That's what the legs are reused from. But they fit pretty nicely on this figure. I think they definitely fit for the character. And they're not bad articulated wise at all. And the only problem is the wide hips, but I don't even think that's a problem from the legs. So legs can be forgiven for being reuse, and the rest of it is really nice. The only problem is with this type of plastic, it's prone to getting a lot of marbling on it. Like you can see all these lines over here. They're not, you don't feel them, but they're in the plastic. And that's the one problem I have with when Hasbro Marvel Legends do these kind of plastics is I feel like marbling is very, very common, and it could be bad if you get the bad figure that you can't choose from. Like I couldn't pick out of these Ghost Riders, and I got lucky with the marbling all being on the back and not on the front. So I guess just watch out for those kind of things if you go to buy one of these figures. Now, moving him out the way, and then back in the way, because it is actually the articulation section. So at the head here, his nice little bean head looks up very nicely, and looks down a little bit. If you get the flame out of the way, he looks down nicely. In the dome, you can articulate the head a little bit. Like, you can't get too much crazy up and down, but you can get your side to side and looking around. Like, having the dome on him doesn't mean he can't look around. Like, you'd have to take the dome off, then just move him, then put the dome on, and then you're good. So now, continuing, at the arms here, these shoulder pads are made of some nice rubbery plastic, so they move out of the way very nicely. And with that, the arm can still get nicely above 90 degrees at the shoulder. There is a full rotation all the way around. It's just you can't get it with the shoulder pad. At the arm here, there's a nice bicep swivel, a nice solid double jointed elbow that works nicely. Just don't mess anything up there. The discs, the one problem I've had with the discs is that you can kind of squish them and they look pretty bad once they get out of place like that. But other than that, there's no big problem with them at all, and you can get them back to normal shape very easily. At the wrist, normal rotation, and nice little hinge up and down. The articulation on this guy is pretty just average, but I think it's all he needed because he's not too crazy of an athletic character. Like the Ghost Rider isn't like Spider-Man whipping around. So decent articulation is all he really needs. So at the diaphragm here, he comes forward. Let me move the arms out of the way. He's got a nice little crunch there. A decent back. And then, of course, since it's a double ball joint, you literally can just get all the movement you want. And I think this is pretty much perfect for an ab joint for this guy, because with this, you can get very subtle movements instead of like the normal ab crunch where you have to just crank it either all the way in or all the way out. So I think this is very good to help with the sitting on the bike and even getting in like chain or gun poses. I prefer this kind of diaphragm joint. There is no waist rotation though, so if all you waist rotation fans are out of luck. At the hips here, kicks forward extremely far, very nice range of movement on the hips. Kicks back, not as good because of that booty, that Ghost Rider booty. Kicks out to the side, pretty all right. It's not as much as you'd want because I wanted to try and do a pose of him getting on the bike, but his leg really couldn't get high enough up. But even without that, he still sits on the bike perfectly, so that's all that really matters. There's a nice swivel at the hip here, a little tight because of this overlaying armor piece. There's a nice double jointed knee, works pretty decently. It looks like it should go more, but I'm not going to push it. You know Marvel Legends, they kind of break on a whim. At the ankle here, I like that there's the swivel at the kind of ankle piece, and then at the foot, a little tight, but you got your forward and your back. Very nice ankle articulation on this guy. And of course, your Marvel Legends ankle pivot. Marvel Legends ankle pivot. If you know what that's a reference to, you know. Shout out to all the Shartimus Prime fans out there. All the boys in the game that grew up with the Shartimus Prime, you'll raise your hand. All right, so articulation on this guy is very nice. I think a lot of it is just pretty much perfect. Like, he doesn't need too much, and they gave him just enough where you can get him in all his Ghost Rider poses, and he'll still look great while being able to articulate. Whew, that was good. So now, moving on, we'll go to the accessories. I guess I'll just save the best for last with the bike, and we'll move this guy out of the way. We'll start with the guns he comes with. So he comes with two separate guns that are in this matte black sort of plastic. There is not an ounce of paint on these guns, but the sculpting is very nice. Let me see if I can get the light to shine perfectly to show you some of that sculpting. I'm not sure that these are reuse. I think they're brand new, and they fit pretty nicely. I just wish there was some sort of paint on them because they do look unfinished. Like, it looks like I bought this off of eBay or something, some prototype gun. Now, each gun does come with a flame accessory. Let me see which one is which. I think this flame one goes to each of them. They both have a specific flame effect, or I guess charging effect. I don't know if it would be flame. But they clip on the front real nice. You can just, and then they, hold on, let me get that in right. There we go. And they stay on very nicely. You can't shake them off. And I think they look really good too. They have a decent flowing pattern where they can fit for him either holding up the gun, knock the light over, him holding it naturally. Even him aiming it sideways or something, you can kind of angle it so it looks more like the energy is flowing up. And I really like that. I think that's a really cool thing that they did for both the guns too. We'll switch to the next one. He has this one with kind of a couple of, I don't even know, like a beam on it or something. I'm not sure. I don't know if these are the exact guns he actually has because I've never really looked at them, but they look really good. And I think the flame effects add even more to him, because you could have him holding it normally, and then you could have him, you know, he's charging it up, maybe aiming it at somebody. And I think it just adds more to it with the 2 different guns and 2 different flame effects. Now, moving on to the next accessory. Every Ghost Rider needs his chain. So we have the flame chain here. This is the exact same sculpt as the other Ghost Rider. I just knocked the light over again. But it's the exact same sculpt as the other Ghost Rider chain. Mine's a little bent because I tried to mold it into a different form, which this one still, they don't have bendy wire, but I was not expecting it because it is just the same thing. But the all that's different is this one is fully sculpted in translucent plastic, and then this one is sculpted and I believe painted silver, or maybe it's dual sculpted, I'm not sure, dual molded, I don't know. But it looks really good. Wrong one. It looks really good because that chain is not bad at all. I like how each individual segment is a thing. It's not like it's just one hunk of line, like it's not a rope, it's an actual chain. And I think it looks better all translucent fiery plastic than just this one. The one problem again though is with Marvel Legends, besides the Toy Biz one, we still have not gotten just a basic chain to wrap around the Ghost Rider, or like a not fiery chain. We still haven't gotten one of those. So Marvel Legends, if you're listening, please include it. So now moving on to the best accessory he comes with, the Cosmic Ghost Bike. So this is a very nice piece that comes with him. You can see it's got his ball on the front. It comes with a nice stand that you just plug in. It plugs in very easily. You can see it right there. It's kind of a weird energy effect, and you just plug her right in. And the articulation on this bad boy is unbelievable. I like the way they did the ball. They had it like they kind of flattened it, so it's a more of a square ball. I don't know how to explain this, but it makes it very nice so that the bike holds, like it grips. So then when you have him, if you want to have the bike flying sideways, it'll stay in that position so it doesn't get loose. It's like ratcheting a joint, but for a single ball, kind of. So, moving on from the geometry and taking a nice look. Oh, this thing is big and weird. Taking a nice look at this thing, you can see the ball in the front. It came in 2 pieces, which you can take apart, and it had these little electric, kind of soft plastic inside of it. I think this looks pretty decent for the ball, and besides like a more translucent plastic so you can see the electric inside, I don't think this is bad at all. And I think it does look pretty much like the ball in the comic book, other than the translucent part. And you can see they put all this kind of plastic, the same translucent-ish plastic, all around the bike, highlighting it all along the sides here. I think the bike is very, very nice. I think the sculpting is really, really good. And where there is paint, if there even is any, I'm not sure, it looks really good. Like the rings over here have some paint that's not too bad. The muffler. There's not too much to do with the bike besides put the Ghost Rider on it, but I do really, really like it nonetheless, because it is a nice solid hunk of plastic. And you can even, there's still some interchangeable stuff like the flame. If you got that spider strength, you can rip it out. And then you could have it, maybe he parked it or he's standing next to it and it's not moving. You could just have no flame. Then if you want him flying at full high speeds, put the flame in there. And that's really it. Other than there are holsters for his guns on the bike. You gotta take the flame effects off. They both specifically have one. So this gun with the underbite goes on the left side here. It just plugs in real easy. And then the dual prong has its own special holster right here with the dual prong changes. I don't know. And that one just clicks in real nice. And it gives you some good storage for the guns in case you don't want to have them holding the guns. And then you can just have the bike, plop it right on the stand, and boom, beautiful. He does sit on the bike very nicely. I'll give him in a nice little sitting pose quick just to display him in the bike. The bike really, I think it brings the whole thing together, because the figure alone is definitely good enough to be alone. Like, you don't need the bike, but I feel like it's almost like he's missing something when he doesn't have the bike. And I think, my personal opinion, a Ghost Rider needs his bike. There we go, boom, very sexy, very nice. So now I will do a couple of comparisons of the bikes, because I have the other Marvel Legends bike. I'm not sure how I'm supposed to even do this, but here we have the Cosmic Ghost Rider bike, and then now this is the original Ghost Rider bike. The Cosmic one is definitely, you can just see the size difference, how much bigger it really is. And I really kind of like that, because I feel like the way they set up the Cosmic Ghost Rider is like he's just a step above the regular Ghost Rider. He's just even more powerful. And I think having a bigger bike is kind of a subtle way to do that. And in my opinion, I do believe that this bike is nicer. I like this one much more. With the stand, you can just get much more dynamic poses out of the bike, when with that one, you can barely even get a character sitting on it before it falls over and breaks or something, or the flames fall off. I just think this one is a much better bike in general. So, now that we're done with that, get the big ball out of the way, get the bike out the way, bring this man back in. We can move over to comparisons. So, this Ghost Rider, I wasn't too sure who to even really compare him to. I don't have a Red Goblin figure, and that's the only thing I know him compared to because of Contest of Champions. So, yeah, we're just going to go some random stuff here. Starting with Ghost Riders themselves. We have the original Danny Ketch Ghost Rider, and then the Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider. And I think this is a nice little Marvel Legends Ghost Rider family we got going on here. We actually, for Hasbro Marvel Legends, we have never gotten a Danny Ketch Ghost Rider, which sucks because that's my favorite, and they should make one. They should actually, Hasbro, listen, if you're watching this right now, by the slim chance you're one of the 12 viewers that watch this video, please give us a Danny Ketch Ghost Rider for Hasbro Marvel Legends. Please, yo, please. That is all I'm asking for. Maybe because Mezco is releasing one too. I don't know. Do whatever you'd like. I'll buy them all. At this point, I've already purchased a majority of the Ghost Rider figures, so another one, that's not too bad. But for scale, this works. I'm not sure if he's supposed to be the exact same height as the Punisher, but that's who the Cosmic Ghost Rider is. It is his name slips my mind for some reason. He's the Punisher as Ghost Rider, and I think for the height, it kind of works. I think the regular Ghost Rider being taller than the Punisher works for me. So I think the scale of this figure is nice. And he is pretty hefty. He's got a decent amount of width to him, with the shoulder pads especially. And his weird wide hips help a little bit. So scale, I give it like a 6 out of 10. He scales pretty nicely. And I think on the bike, his height really doesn't matter anyway. So now bringing just some interesting characters in. His son, if you will, if you know the lore. So here we have Thanos and Dr. Doom. Doom is another one of those Marvel Legends figures made of that same metallic plastic. And I think it's a good showing of what they can really do, because this guy is much, much older than the Doom. But I think he still looks pretty much on the same level. Well, not much older, maybe a year or two. But I think he still looks on the same level. And that's why I think this guy, good figure. And I have Thanos here because if you know the backstory, you know Cosmic Ghost Rider kidnaps baby Thanos and makes him Punisher Thanos. So we should get an SHF of that, maybe a Marvel Legends. Continuing on now. At this point, I had nothing really to compare him to, so we went back to basics. A couple of Spider-Man characters. This, I think this does show that this character, more the figure, really can fit with anything. I feel like Cosmic Ghost Rider, you could put him fighting Thanos, fighting Carnage, fighting Spider-Man, fighting with Spider-Man, fighting against Spider-Man. Anything Spider-Man related, this Cosmic Ghost Rider will work for. And I think with the bike, it shows, excuse me, sorry about that, but I think the bike even helps him a little more stand out, because normally he's kind of weird looking. I don't know if he really sticks out in a crowd of figures, but I think the big bike with the huge ball in the front, it really helps him with that. And I really do like this figure. For final thoughts, I would say if you're a Cosmic Ghost Rider fan and you can find it for retail, this is 150% a recommend, because it's just a good deal. You get so much playability with it, with the bike and the guns and the fire effects and the fiery chains. Ooh, I think it's definitely worth it. But if you can't find it for retail, I really don't think this is worth $80, $80, $90. I would not say that at all. I would say save your money, because probably, maybe, Marvel Legends would do a re-release. I'm not sure. I don't know. So, now getting these guys out of the way. Thank you guys so much for watching. The next video I'm going to put up is going to be the comic video. I'm going to make the comic video. It's going to be like a collection. I'm going to just do like a Spider-Man comic collection or something like that. But I don't want to make this video any longer. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really like this figure. Shout out to the Cosmic Ghost Rider. And shout out to you guys. Thank you so much. Have a good day.